Right now on Fox 43 Featured, Governor Josh Shapiro gave his annual budget address this week, then sat down one-on-one with Fox 43, what the governor has to say about his plans and concerns from Republicans. And lawmakers are working to ban cell phones in schools, how one local school is already working to get kids off their devices in the classroom. Plus, this week marked World Cancer Day, and doctors say a simple screening can be life-saving. One woman shares her story of battling the disease. Thanks for joining us for Fox 43 Featured. I'm Robert Stover. Governor Josh Shapiro met with Republican leaders in the legislature just one day after his budget address, and afterwards he sat down with Fox 43 News to discuss his proposal. Fox 43's James Corrigan spoke one-on-one with the governor and has the details of that conversation.
Well, the governor's fourth budget comes after he only just signed his last budget back in November. It was one both sides lauded for making investments in education and tax relief while not taking from the rainy day fund. It also came 135 days late, and Governor Shapiro, in his budget address on Tuesday, extended an invitation to leaders from the House and Senate to meet him the very next day. Shortly after that meeting, he spoke with me.
How was the meeting with the other leaders, and do you feel any progress was made?
We had a really constructive meeting. Everybody came, which was terrific. We talked about, some areas of agreement. We talked about some areas where we got some work to do, and we set a really aggressive schedule to keep meeting, and I think that's important.
That schedule will come as a relief to those with last year's 135-day budget deadlock still in mind. This year's negotiations will center around the proposal's $53.3 billion price tag, which would take more than $4.5 billion from the rainy day fund. Governor Shapiro told me that his plan plays the long game in growing the economy and replenishing the reserves over time.
During my 5-year budget, there is no broad-based tax increase that is required, and it still maintains a healthy surplus each year so that if we have an emergency, we're able to deal with it.
Republican leaders pushed back in their response to the governor's budget address Tuesday, raising concerns over the Commonwealth's economic outlook if reserves are drained and tax increases are necessary.
The moment we start draining that fund completely is the moment we're going to get bond downgrades, we're going to get a negative outlook, we're paying more for our debt, and all of a sudden we have nothing.
I understand posturing, they're going to do some posturing, but at the end of the day, the people of Pennsylvania need to know this is a balanced budget that cuts taxes, doesn't raise them, and still maintains a healthy surplus.
Among the hottest topics locally has been data centers, which have brought billions in investment to the Commonwealth, but have also brought concerns to local communities over excess electricity usage driving up prices. Shapiro unveiled his proposed regulations in his budget address, saying developers would need to provide their own generation and community benefits in order to obtain key permits and tax incentives.
I'd be skeptical of these developers if I was the community. I'm skeptical of many of them. That's why we want to be clear. These are the steps you've got to take if you're going to be building here in our Commonwealth.
The budget negotiations have now begun, with the two sides set to fight it out over spending priorities and the governor's other proposals. Republican leaders say they will push for fiscal responsibility in the final project, while Shapiro says he will make sure the final budget leaves no one behind.
We're going to stand for the same things we've been fighting for along the way and try to deliver a budget that's fiscally responsible and keep this Commonwealth on a path to growth.
It shows that we believe every child of God deserves a firm foundation through a quality education, and that children deserve to grow up in a community where they're safe and in a community where they'll be able to get a job when they graduate, that they can pursue their passion.
Now, some of the other proposals in the speech included longer standing priorities, including taxing skill games, legalizing recreational marijuana, and providing long-term funding for mass transit. I also spoke with the governor about the proposed $100 million federal response fund in the case of federal cuts and funding freezes. You can see more on that on fox43.com. James Corrigan, Fox 43 News.
Harrisburg Mayor Wanda Williams' lawsuit against City Council has been dismissed. Williams sued last month after City Council overrode her vetoes of the 2026 budget, which included the defunding of 4 administrative roles. A Dauphin County judge released his opinion on the case this week, denying claims made by Mayor Williams that City Council worked outside its legislative authority during budget. Attorneys representing City Council released a statement on the decision saying, quote, "While City Council was completely vindicated by Judge Engel's thorough and well-reasoned decision, Council is disappointed that precious taxpayer dollars had to be extended on this matter in the first place." A spokesperson for Mayor Williams says she will not speak publicly about the case. And Mayor Williams says she plans to appeal the Dauphin County judge's dismissal of her suit. In a statement released just a few hours after the ruling, Mayor Williams says, in part, quote, "I want the residents of Harrisburg to know that your mayor did not lose today. The damages are to the citizens of the city," end quote. She does continue to say, however, "I have to defend the city and its operations, and I will appeal," end quote. And as state lawmakers look to change school cell phone rules, some local districts are already implementing their own phone policies. Fox 43's Matt Kleindon spoke with Milton Hershey school officials about how they're trying to keep students off their phones.
In classrooms across Milton Hershey School, students are working on class assignments without a cell phone in sight.
I just think that it's been very positive for our culture.
This school year, Milton Hershey instituted a new rule banning students from using their phones during the school day. Principal Jennifer McConnell says it's a shift away from the old policy, which allowed students to have their phones between classes and during lunch.
If they saw something maybe on social media in between classes, or they had some type of communication in between classes, it did cause some disruption to the classroom.
Milton Hershey still allows students to use their cell phones if they have a medical need for it or need to reach a parent for an emergency. Teachers are also given discretion to use cell phones in class to help with instruction.
It teaches them the appropriateness of when to use the technology and when not to.
Gloria McElwain says her students are interacting more with teachers and their peers since the rule went into effect. However, she adds that the transition was challenging for some kids.
Some of them would automatically reach for it and then they'd remember they couldn't, or they would get frustrated. But we gave them a lot of time to pause, and we gave them space to have those reactions and to talk through that. And gradually that kind of anxiety lessened.
During his budget address, Governor Shapiro voiced his support to institute similar cell phone bans statewide.
Students need to spend less time focused on their phones and more time focused on learning, on talking to their friends face to face, and on developing the critical skills that they will need later in life.
School leaders say any state law should include local input to help foster the best learning environment.
We need to make sure that students have the tools, and that includes the stamina, the brain stamina.
Matt Kleindon, Fox 43 News.
The Ford Chaplains' Memorial of York County hosted an event at the York Jewish Community Center this week, which recognized the anniversary of the sinking of the USAT Dorchester that happened 83 years ago. The ship was transporting U.S. troops from New York to Greenland when it was hit by a German torpedo. More than 600 people died, including 4 Army chaplains who gave up their life jackets to help save others. 2 of those men have roots in South Central Pennsylvania, including Rabbi Alexander Good from York and George Fox from Mifflin County. Tuesday's event honored the lives and legacies of each man, and organizers hope the chaplains' sacrifice continues to strengthen people's bonds across the York County community.
Just by the building that we're in, with the sign out in front that says everyone is welcome at the JCC, that really is inspired, in my belief, by him, who wanted everyone to be interfaith. And that's how you have the JCC is 94% not Jewish. And that's how we became so well integrated into the community.
The Chaplains' Memorial Group is expected to host its annual prayer breakfast in May. We have more information on the group and the work it does inside the community on fox43.com. Medical professionals and patients are raising awareness for cancer treatment. This Wednesday marked World Cancer Day. This year's campaign theme is United by Unique, sharing the stories of survivors and those currently battling cancer to show that no 2 cases or journeys are the same. Fox 43's Cindy Nauman shares one woman's story who battled cancer while facing some of life's biggest moments.
They hook it up through the port and then it goes through IVs. just like you would be getting an IV like through your arm.
In less than a year, Kelly Eichler has accomplished more than a one-man band.
So the last couple months I've gotten married, which is awesome, and also my birthday. So everything has been super exciting.
That excitement nearly overshadowed by another announcement.
It didn't really honestly hit me until I started radiation that I had cancer.
A routine pap smear revealed Kelly has stage 1 cervical cancer.
Kelly did everything right and still got cervical cancer, which is the crazy unfortunate thing that it's sometimes very hard to prevent this.
Not even cancer could stop Kelly from celebrating her milestones.
Having my wedding to look forward to, that really helped me get through everything. And I just feel like the positivity that I had the whole time, something was you're gonna have a great wedding, you're gonna have a great day.
And she did.
I was dreading my wedding, that I would be feeling awful, and I actually had no symptoms the day of my wedding. So I don't know what happened, but it was the best day.
Just 3 days before the ceremony, Kelly finished her cancer treatment, which included daily doses of radiation and chemotherapy.
Luckily, we were able to catch it at an early stage.
Which is why Dr. Jennifer Rosenberg at UPMC's Hillman Cancer Center says regular screenings can save lives.
For screening for cervical cancer, in the countries that have established a screening process, the risk of death has decreased by 75%.
As for Kelly, her next achievement, remission. Sydney Nauman, Fox 43 News.
Salt on the road could start to take a toll on your car. Coming up, what you need to know to avoid costly repairs. And frigid temperatures throughout the region have driven more people to walk, skate, and fish on frozen waters. What experts say you need to know to be safe this winter. Well, after weeks of bitter cold, ice has become an impressive sight along rivers and waterways across south central Pennsylvania. And while the frozen landscape may spark curiosity for some, officials are warning about the hidden dangers. Meteorologist Grant Carlton explains why river ice is never safe and what to keep in mind if you're heading out this winter.
After periods of record-breaking cold and numerous Arctic outbreaks this winter, it's no surprise to see a thick crust of ice on local tributaries and rivers, including the Susquehanna. From a distance, the surface may look solid, but the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission is warning that when it comes to frozen rivers, appearances can be dangerously misleading.
In a stream or a river, that water is constantly moving, and then at the same time, it's also deteriorating ice underneath. So that moving water, that friction is at all times deteriorating that ice.
Unlike lakes and ponds, river ice never freezes evenly. Currents continue to flow beneath the surface, undermining the ice, even during extended stretches of below freezing temperatures.
We're doing ice rescue training up in the northern tier of the state, and we had 18 inches of ice, which is crazy. And then we just checked right out here, just a couple feet out, and it was less than an inch here on the river, even though it looks like you could walk right out on there.
For rivers like the Susquehanna, officials say the message is clear: stay off the ice entirely. When it comes to lakes and ponds, officials say some recreation may be possible, but stress that no ice is ever completely safe. Conditions can vary widely, even across the same body of water.
The wind, sunlight, water chemistry, if it's close to salt roads or any type of culvert pipe pouring in, and then any type of obstruction, even if there's just a wooden dock, anywhere around that's going to actually absorb heat from the sun, and it's going to weaken that ice out.
Officials recommend following established ice safety guidelines, checking ice thickness frequently, and staying alert for changing conditions when heading out for recreation. On moving waterways, officials say there is no safe ice thickness, making frozen rivers something best admired from afar. For a full look at ice dangers and safety guidelines, visit fox43.com. Grant Carlton, Fox 43 News.
While snow and ice may be cleared from roadways near you, potential damages for your vehicle aren't off the table yet. Road salt meant to keep drivers safe can quietly eat away at your car, leading to costly repairs. More than a week after the snowstorm, road salt is still sticking around, not just on the roads, but underneath cars across south central Pennsylvania. Experts say the damage can cost you a lot of money.
I've heard different people say that lifting the bed off and replacing the bed rails can be a $3,000 repair.
Diaz says he tries to wash his car as soon as conditions allow, knowing it's cheaper to maintain his vehicle than to face expensive repairs down the road. Mechanics warn that once salt sticks, the damage can begin quickly, especially to the undercarriage, an area that takes the biggest hit. A simple wash today could help drivers avoid costly repairs tomorrow. From the classroom to the playground, good eyesight matters. What a local doctor says about spotting vision problems early in life in this week's Health Smart report. A child's world depends on what they can see. In this week's Health Smart report, Fox 43's Amy Lutz talks to a pediatric ophthalmologist who says early eye care can make all the difference.
Tiny patients, careful focus, and an eye exam that could change a child's future.
All children need an eye exam before they go to school. It's very important.
At UPMC Children's, pediatric ophthalmologist Dr. Kiran Taraka says between the ages of 3 and 5, simple screenings can catch common issues early, like needing glasses, crossed eyes, or a condition known as lazy eye.
If we detect it early, then we can treat early.
That matters because untreated vision problems don't just affect eyesight. They can impact reading, learning, and confidence in school, lazy eyes especially.
If, say that we are not treating it, the brain won't recognize it and the eye can become lazy. And we cannot treat. Once they become lazy eye, and after 8 years of age, if we don't treat them, they can be permanently blind.
Experts also warn they're seeing a shift in eye issues. She says most likely due to technology and the overuse of screens.
The kids are becoming nearsighted at an younger age, which is very concerning in the pediatric world.
She says parents should watch for warning signs of any eye problem, which include kids holding screens too close, squinting, rubbing their eyes, and most importantly, eyes that cross in or out.
That's when the parents have to bring them out if they see any of these.
Despite what the issue may be, Dr. Taraka says one thing is clear. Healthy vision early on helps kids see the world and their future more clearly. For more information on UPMC's Pediatric Ophthalmology Department, I've put a link on our website, fox43.com. With your Health Smart report, Amy Lutz, Fox 43 News.
The Lebanon County Rescue Mission is expanding its programs to help homeless people in the area. How their work goes beyond food and shelter after the break. The Lebanon Rescue Mission is expanding to meet the need of the homeless community. In this week's On the Bright Side, Fox 43's Gabrielle Mediak shows us how their mission extends beyond just offering a place to stay.
The Lebanon Rescue Mission has been a safe haven for people experiencing homelessness for decades.
So we're more than just a place to get a meal, we're more than just a place to get a bed. They'll be connected to life-changing services.
And during the recent Code Blue, staff say they housed more than 85 people.
Men stay anywhere from 24 hours to 2 years, depending on their need and on housing and various issues.
Those numbers break down to more than 60 men alone.
We see more people come when it gets cold. So we're a low barrier shelter, which means we have very few obstacles that will keep a man from being able to receive services from us. During Code Blue, we drop that bar even lower. As long as a man's not actively drunk or been barred from this facility, they're able to come in.
A new expansion project is underway to help them serve more than 3 times their current capacity. Organizers say the Agape Safe Haven will sit right across the street from the mission, and it'll focus on the most vulnerable.
So we get calls every day from women who have children or women who are single with nowhere to go. We're going to be able to meet that need, and not only will we meet that need, we're going to help them transform their lives.
Those involved say it'll also serve as a space to house the senior population in need.
Over 40% of our shelter guests every evening are over the age of 60. Some of our residents are in their 80s, which is overwhelming to think that someone in their 80s is coming to a rescue mission to stay.
Breaking the stigma surrounding people experiencing homelessness.
People were told, hey, when you retire, you're going to be able to live on that Social Security. We know that that's not the truth. So we have men who come to our facility. They receive an income, but it's not enough to get their own. An average rent around here right now is like $1,200. And there's a long list to get into the senior housing.
Organizers say this expansion will bring resources like counseling and casework under one umbrella to overall better serve their community.
And mission leaders say they plan to break ground on this expansion project March 12th, so just around the corner. As always, if you have some good news to share, send me an email at gmediac@fox43.com. On the bright side, I'm Gabrielle Mediac.
It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
Yeah, you heard it. The prognostication from Pennsylvania's most famous groundhog this week, Punxsutawney Phil, has predicted 6 more weeks of winter. Other Pennsylvania groundhogs made their predictions alongside Phil, and plenty of locals are reacting to the news. The Manheim Township Parks and Recreation Department hosted its 6th annual Groundhog Day celebration on Monday. M.T. Parker, the township's resident groundhog, saw his shadow and predicted also 6 more weeks of winter as well. Now, while the news wasn't what some people wanted, it did not stop others from having fun in the cold.
I wanted it to be spring. I'm over winter, but I accept it for now.
Yeah, I like that everyone's just like really happy and joyful, and it just like I get a lot of good vibes from you.
Both Jackie and John say they hope to continue the tradition and make it out for next year's prognostication. And that's going to do it for Fox 43 Featured. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Have a good one.